I'm about disrupting how research looks in the world. And I believe in kind of this concept of a healing centered lens of
Mhm.
research. And so again, and I lean into the edges. I lean into the edges. I move back. I engage in the principle of moving back and listening to folks who may not have a PhD, a
Mhm.
master's degree, a bachelor's degree, even I would say an associate's degree. I have found that it's often young people and those folks who are
Mhm.
breathing, living, eating, digesting the air. And that's where I learn from the most.
That's right. I think you're giving examples of ways to defy what the current structure in society defines as leadership
Yes.
development, and
Yes.
what is evidence based. So Tom,
Yes.
I will repeat the names: Tom Wolfe, Regina Jackson, another fellow from cohort 2.
Ah, okay,
So
you're
you've
right.
had 5 years of what the post IRL future has been. So let me ask you this: what have been your next steps? I think you already alluded that you are a recovering academic now.
Yes.
How do you see the lessons you've learned from IRL, being applied in the work towards health equity for all since your graduation of 2020?
Oh, yeah. So I just want to say I do keep my pinky toe in the academic realm, just because I'm trying to change how teaching happens actually on another level. So, I still try to do adjunct if I can
Mm.
to shift what that looks like in higher education as much as I can, given our climate. So much. I really want to reflect on what I alluded to, right? Like believing in the edges, right? As somebody say, believe in Black women first. You know what I mean? Believe in Black families, believe in Black Indigenous people, right? Like don't question or interrogate. No. And so I think because of that, I transitioned into the nonprofit realm. And I like to say that I really came into an organization that was trying to engage in more liberatory practices. And, I was a part of that, right? It was a whole new functional area, quote unquote, division that was being created that we call community driven research. You know what I mean? And I created a whole strategy on doing that by sitting alongside and walking alongside Black parents. And specifically, these were Black moms, you know what I mean? So you can think about all the lives that they're holding or whatever. And I think that I helped that nonprofit get over $4 million, you know what I mean, through our strategy around doing community driven research, right? But I want to say that it was in that work that I realized my spirit, my soul was being kind of torn. You know what I mean? It was kind of being disrupted, feeling like it was at a place of demarcation, you know what I mean? Split
Mhm.
in the middle. And I had to, like, again, I lost my father last year and I had to return to a conversation I had with myself a long time ago.
Mm.
What is my destiny? What am I supposed to be doing? And so I left, right? And I started We Claim Research. And so We Claim Research is all about, Robin, everything that I alluded to before, Crystal. It is about disrupting how we think research can happen. You know what I mean? I'm actually about to post a blog on Sunday about what does it really mean to listen and witness someone. You know what I mean? We don't talk about that when we're designing protocols and focus groups, but it's like, how do we really listen someone's existence into being, right? What
Mhm.
does it mean to bear witness to someone's story? You know what I mean? When we're listening, when we're gathering stories versus data, you know what I mean? Let's make them very
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what is our responsibility? I feel like that's another thing we don't talk a lot about. It's like, what is our responsibility outside of IRB when we're collecting these stories? Where do these stories exist and how are they accessible to the community who said, I'm gonna give you consent, right? And offer them
Data's
to them.
data sovereignty.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
What does it mean for us to actually sit down and say, how should I translate this? Maybe I don't need to write a freaking peer article. What does it mean if it is a piece of art, if it's dance, if it's theater, if it's something else, if it's bringing the concept of seeds and the braids back? You know what I mean? And what does that mean in order for that community to use that, to leverage that knowledge in order to maintain their ability to continue to heal, their ability to continue to love, their ability to continue to dream. And I would say also, short plug, it's coming out soon. It landed me in a place where I am publishing my book, a guide, right? And the book is called That We Get to Love. We get to love, heal, and dream. It's about building community with ourselves and others. As a community psychologist, my training has often been outside, think of community outside. And I like
Mhm.
to say we have to work on community inside too, because what we do to this is what we do to that, right?
Yeah.
So how are we shifting that out? And so beginning to again acknowledge the ways that I've sat down with everyday community members as co-authors of their stories, as translators of that. And that's the kind of work I want to continue to do, because I do believe in, again, the existence of parallel worlds.
Mhm.
And while we know that this is the conditions that we're in right now can be quite daunting, they can make us believe that we are powerless. We can feel helpless, right? And we can feel hopeless. I
Mhm.
believe there's the other world, right? There's the powerful, right? There's the hopeful, right? There's, I know we can, all of those things. And so that's the kind of work I want to continue to lean into, and what I feel really, again, when I'm reflecting on my journey in IRL. The last thing I do want to shout out, and this is John Swabish from the Urban Institute.
Yes.
I don't think I also want I have to acknowledge John and the beauty that he shifted. So I do want to acknowledge that he was really helping us to think through data in a different way, in a more visual way. But then I think when I think about my DNA, it was like, oh, but how can we even think of it beyond grabs and bars? You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
again, what does it look like to become a piece of theater? You know what I mean? Just different
Yeah,
kinds
that's
of
right.
work.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I do want to acknowledge, I think again, that was a beautiful connection and a beautiful experience that kind of put a little spark within my own mind to even challenge myself even further.
You've been busy since in the last 5 years. So your reclaim research, and congratulations on your publication and all the information, including Jonathan Schwabish at Urban Institute, we'll share with our listeners in the show notes. Thank you.
Please. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Dawn, for that. That struck me as such a beautiful reflection on your experience. And I think you have raised some questions that others who are engaging in community engaged research and wanting to do
Yes.
more of this can think through in order to do right by the communities and do right by the work and by the people and even by themselves as individuals.
Yes.
And so I'm grateful for the reflection that you've shared that will hopefully
Thank
get us to
you.
this world, this new world of possibilities
Yes.
and happiness and hopefulness that is so antithetical to some of what we're dealing with at this time.
Yes.
So thank
Yes.
you for sharing that.